Hey guys, and welcome back to WebMD and DM, where I diagnose the discussions that take place around my table while playing both games, the Dungeons and the Dragons. This is going to be a slightly different video from what I normally do. It'll be going under my DM Rants playlist, where I just sort of pontificate about interesting ideas that I have while talking about D&D. And it's essentially my thoughts on the age-old question, what is a dungeon master? Or what is a storyteller? Or what is a GM? Or what is your whatever narrator, whatever term you use for your RPG setting. Now, a lot of people have different ways of interpreting this, and they often will say their own opinions about these matters, which will be usually influenced by what has come before them. Some people say that a GM should be nothing more than an arbiter of the rules. They should have no personal stake in the story whatsoever. Other people say that the GM, DM, narrator, whatever, is a collaborator and should be on the side of the players and needs to be able to help them get out of jams. And that's where the idea of the DM screen kind of comes in. Other players, and I'm sure there are a select few, will say that the DM is nothing more than a vindictive jerk on the other side of a screen going on a power trip, and these people have obviously been hurt in some way in the past. For my money, I typically like the cliched answer, but I think it has a lot of merit, that a DM or GM or storyteller or narrator is God. More specifically, a god. Now, I can hear some of you groaning, how cliche an answer, and blah, blah, blah. But for me, it rings the most true just based on my experiences behind the screen. The DM, which is what I call myself, is a god in the sense that they create everything. Like, they create the NPCs that you talk to buy a wagon. They created the NPCs that give you the quest. They created the NPCs who are in charge of the organization. They created every NPC. Not only that, they created the houses that those NPCs live in. They created the places where those NPCs shop, where they work. They created the forest nearby that's been infested with bandits. They created the mountains where the goblins have been hiding inside their caves. They created the evil bad guy who's using vile energy to summon an undead army to overtake the kingdom. They created the king. They created the kingdom. They created the mountains that separate this kingdom from that kingdom. They created everything. But just because they're a creator doesn't make them a god. They're also a god in the sense that, going into like the science of it, they created the physics in the sense that you want to leap from one point to another across a chasm. Well, they tell you to make an acrobatics check or make an athletics check. But what does that mean in terms of the game? It means your character is jumping, and there's a chance that they don't jump far enough, that gravity will pull them down faster than their jump carries them, and they will plummet to their death, hopefully with a dex save to grab the cliffside or something. Well, we're not too cruel, hopefully. And pulling back slightly, they don't just make the place, they don't just fill it with people, and they don't just have the physics interacting, they also try and have it make sense. If you attack an NPC, and the NPC survives, and he runs off and goes and gets the guards, and the guards step in, that guy's probably going to have to serve some jail time or pay a fine. They come back later and they've paid their dues, they're fine, but that NPC is still going to be mad at them for attacking him. So he's going to be like, yeah, you want 5 days of rations? That'll be 500 gold. And the PCs are like, what? No, it says right here. It's like, I don't give a damn what you think it's supposed to be. It's 500 gold for you fuckers. And then in a more meta sense, the DM is a god in the sense that you can argue a rule point, but at the end of the day, you're at his table. It's his world. You're playing in it, which means that you kind of have to bow to his ruling to a point. Obviously, if he says that you're at 20 misses against a goblin when the other character's 15 was more than enough, you have some ground to stand on. But if there's a ruling that needs to be made, and you're a decent player and he's a decent GM, typically you will kind of bow to his ruling and talk about it later and sort out the conflict. And he, once he hears your argument, will say, oh, you have this misconception, or, oh, I made a mistake, my bad, and you will sort it out. And that leads very nicely, in my opinion, into the final aspect that really kind of solidifies the DM as a god. There's this song. I've never heard the song myself, but it has this really interesting lyric. The song itself is called No Church in the Wild, but I've seen this lyric posted a few times in a meme form that I really enjoyed. The lyric is, human beings in a mob, What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer? And that kind of brings home the final point for me. You may spend all this time crafting this world as a DM. You may spend all this time filling it with these NPCs. You may create the perfect bad guy who's got an unbeatable plot and the heroes have to follow this path. And wait, where are you going? If you don't craft the story to suit the players, if you don't give them what they want at the table and bring them back again, your perfectly crafted world and story are just ash in the wind. It serves no good. At the end of the day, you might be this all-powerful god in your realm, but those NPCs aren't going to be interacting with each other. You've already decided what they're going to do. It's the players, the ones who have been given the free will to act apropos of nothing. They can do whatever they want to whomever they want and send the story slamming off the rails in different directions. If you don't have the players in your game, then the DM is impotent, is useless. He has no purpose. What's a god to a non-believer? Nothing. You are just a guy. To maintain yourself as a god, you need followers. You need the faithful. You need them to believe in your world and your setting and what you're putting in front of them. So at the end of the day, I am a personal believer in the fact that a DM is a god in his realm. He literally created everything out of nothing. But just like any god in any fantasy world, you need faithful to maintain your power. So just always remember that the players are your faithful. They need to believe in the world. They need to believe in what you're putting in front of them. Otherwise, what's a god to a non-believer? Nothing. A story, maybe, from a time before. So that was just my 2 cents. I always like to answer that a DM is a god, but what's a god to a non-believer? And I felt like it was an important distinction to make, and I wanted to make a video about this, just putting my thoughts about the whole DM situation out there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My thoughts notwithstanding, what do you guys think about DMs? Do you think they are gods? Do you think they should be neutral arbiters? Do you think they are vindictive dicks? In which case, I got a game I can invite you to. Go ahead and leave all that sort of stuff in the comments below. Don't forget to roll your charisma saving throw against that subscription button. Hope you guys all have a lovely day, and until I see you in the next one, take care.